Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our first Q&A for this week after that huge episode last night for The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 5. This one will be leading up to Episode 6 now, starting with the question, giving our thoughts on, are you still interested in watching the original Walking Dead television series without Rick Grimes? Oh man, so still coming down from that huge episode last night. If you guys didn't get a chance to see it, you definitely got to watch the 5th episode for The Walking Dead Season 9. Absolutely crazy episode. You guys can keep sending your Q&A questions for this week. Going to have lots of videos coming for you guys because that episode was just nuts. And I mean, it was really great, right? Like a lot of people are saying, Trev, best episode ever, and I might agree. I mean, it's not the same kind of episode as what we're used to. The episode that's most close to it is probably the Tyrese episode where he sees the hallucinations from season 5 in his final episode, the Dead End episode with the governor and the others that came back, which was really cool to see it done that way in that one. This one was even way better. I mean, like the next level, like the next step up from that. I'm glad they did that episode so they got a chance to really perfect the whole going into the hallucination things and then coming back out of it. For Rick on the horseback as he's falling asleep and then waking back up and falling asleep and waking back up as he's losing blood. Man, that was just really insane to see right up until the end, and it's unbelievable. So this about going forward in the series. So we know Rick is going to go to the AMC movies. We know that those are coming. I did a video on that last night. If you guys don't know the details about the future for Rick, watch that video. I'll have it in the end screen videos for you here after you're done watching this one, so you can get the details about the 3 movies they're going to do for Rick in the future. But who knows how long it's going to take. It could be a couple years. You know, we got to be patient for those. So Rick's story likely won't be advanced for quite a little while, but the show must go on. You know, the Walking Dead is going forward without Rick, right? The original TV series, a 6-year time skip coming up, which is nuts. So lots to talk about with regards to that by itself, because it's just such an immense amount of time to see skipped in the Walking Dead series. It's just crazy. But, the question here, like, will you still be as interested in watching the original series? Because the thing about this is, to clarify for people, we may not see Rick in the original Walking Dead series again. You know, if we do, I hope we will, but they said it's his last episode in the series. So maybe he won't return, or maybe if he does return, it would just be for, a few episodes or a season or 2 or something like that in the original canon series. Because he's going to be doing the other stuff. And that could take 3 movies, could take 6 years, 5 or 6 years to do, right? Or who knows, at least I would think of at least 3 to 4 years minimum. And I think that's like minimum, probably longer. So what does that mean for the original Walking Dead television series? It means he won't be there for the next 4 or 5 years of The Walking Dead. He's not going to be there, right? So the Walking Dead TV series is going to continue. Rick's not going to be in it. What does that mean, man? Like how does that, what does that mean to you guys as viewers? So for me, I am a little bit sad. I'm still looking forward to the Walking Dead television series to watch through, but knowing that Rick's not going to be in it for a long time, most likely, and possibly may never be in it again, depending on how the movies go. I am a little bit saddened by that, because that means that basically the series that we're used to tuning into every year is going to be so drastically different. And we're really gonna have to see how good it turns out. You know, we're so used to seeing Rick every episode, and in next week's episode 6 here, and going forward, no more Rick, right? So I'm happy that they saved him, that he's not killed off. You know, that's better. I think if they killed him off, it'd be even worse, because then you would never see a living Rick again in anything Walking Dead at all. But knowing that he's probably not going to come back in the canon original series, is going to be in movies and other stuff instead, is really crazy, man. So let's see how the whole thing goes. But how are you guys feeling about this? Are you still as interested in the series going forward to watch episode 6 and 7 and 8, and then have the mid-season break and then come back in the second half? Do you care as much as you did prior, knowing that Rick won't be there now? And I'm not saying that it's anyone's fault that that's the case. It's just, situations arise. That's how things go. And I think that with regards to the Rick exit, AMC handled it in probably just about the best way that they could, to where you could still look forward to seeing Rick in the future, but it won't be in the usual Walking Dead show, right? So the show going forward will be Rickless. So I'm a little bit sad about it. I'm not as interested, I think, to see that as I would have been if he would have. It would have been cool if they could have kept him in each year. But, I guess it doesn't make sense. They're not able to do that. So, okay, fine. But, it'll be epic to see the movies anyway. So, that said, I am still very heavily invested in the Walking Dead TV series. I definitely want to give them a chance with this time skip. And I'm very intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about this one. Looking forward from this standpoint, how do you think you'll enjoy The Walking Dead as much without Rick? Do you think that it'll be something that you'll be able to look forward to in the same way? Or do you think that it changes the show so drastically that you're basically saying, I'm looking forward to the Walking Dead movies, and I couldn't give a shit about what happens in this 6-year Walking Dead future? Leave the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Geral the barber says, Trev, I'm confused. Is it Rick Grimes' final episode or Andrew Lincoln's final episode? Which is it? So far as what they've been saying, it's Rick's final episode in the Walking Dead TV series. So he's going to go off, he's going to do the other movies, and they're going to release the movies when they're done eventually, which could be a few years from now. We don't even know. They don't have a release date or anything yet, so far as I know. But he's not going to be returning, so far as they've said yet, to the original Walking Dead television series. They're saying that it's his final episode of that show. He's done with the show. The show will continue, but he won't be a part of it anymore. He's separated off into a tangent universe, right? A tangent of The Walking Dead, which is going to be the movies. And what they're going to do with that and how that goes, we'll see. I will say that I'm probably more excited eventually. I know it's far way off, but I'm still more excited to see the movies than I kind of am to see the regular episodes. And I'm noticing that in the Q&As a lot right now, too. It's like everybody's asking questions about Rick. The other characters, everyone's like, whatever. Whispers are cool, but Negan's cool, Daryl's cool, Michonne and Carol, they're cool, but whatever. So we'll see how it goes, man. It's crazy. But I hope that makes sense for you, Geral. Is that unless they just simply, unless they're wrong and it's not his final episode, and eventually he comes back for a season or two or something, we'll have to see what they do. But I like the movie concept, and if he can't keep doing the year-by-year grind every year of 16 episodes and all that work and being in almost every episode and all that stuff, if he can't do that anymore, then this certainly is better than having him killed off, right, for sure. Greg B says he's going to be back on the show, though, right? No, not right. Not necessarily. He might be, but based on what they've said, he's not. Like, if they told you the truth 100% that this is his final episode, then no, he won't be back in the show. He'll be in the movies. Eventually, maybe we could see him back at some point, but that'll be in many years from now, and we don't know if he'd sign back on as a regular, if he'd be interested in doing that, or if we'll never see him again in the TV series, which actually would not surprise me, considering the time skips, everything else. I'd like to see him reunited again with his family. I'd like to see him reunited with Michonne. I'd like to see him reunited with Judith, maybe at the end or something, if somehow they could work that out where he comes in for, if they're going to wrap up the series in a number of years. So, I guess my prediction is I think eventually we will see him return, but I think it's so far off, they're basically saying it's his final episode, and they're, cutting it there, and he's off shooting into the movie. So I hope that makes sense. At least that's what we know so far. Things can change. Sometimes things can be misleading. So maybe what they said is not true. Maybe he will have further episodes in the series. But if what they said is true, then he won't, and you'll have to watch the movies if you want to see Rick, basically. 21, Mel Pamine says, I don't know about you guys, but I certainly have a new favorite episode after tonight. So yeah, man. Last night's episode was crazy. Definitely one of my favorites ever. Really happy that we were able to see this episode through. We were able to see the series get to this point. You would have liked to maybe seen that episode a couple years from now or something. But real life, it's not the same as a comic book where you just draw in the character and he's always there. Some people, you got to go from one continent to another to work every year, and it's like going to a work camp or something, and you're totally invested in that, and you're ignoring your family and the other stuff that's going on. So it's definitely not the easiest thing for Andrew Lincoln to have done. And he's probably getting a little bit burned out of leading all those episodes every year. You can be a workaholic, but if you keep doing 12, 14-hour days around the clock for more than 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, eventually it gets to the point where you're like, okay, we need to figure out something else. I can't keep doing this shit. This is too much. MrNoluv says, so Rick doesn't die? I hate they are going to leave us in limbo. Typical of The Walking Dead. So the thing is, though, is that they didn't leave it too bad. They could have done it worse. They could have shown him with Jadis and then not shown the helicopter until it was in the movie. At least in this one, they showed him leaving in the helicopter and regaining consciousness. So you're led to believe that he is alive and he's going to live. So, and they gave us answers. They told us movies are coming next for him. Be a while, but eventually we'll get there, right? So yeah, good stuff. And I mean, it's better than if they would have done it that way, and it'd be a who did Negan kill type of situation again. Who is Rick dead or not? Right, for 3 years or however long it'll be till they get the first movie done. Derek Loback says, worried about Trev today, so he was worried about me with this episode. So thanks, Derek. I'm good, man, and I really, really enjoyed the episode. It was emotional, though. Messed me up a little bit. I imagine for you guys it probably did the same, especially near the end there. Probably like the biggest mess-up points were like where Rick's saying it's not real, and Michonne's like trying to convince him that it is, and then we find out that he's on the bridge, but there's nobody there. Like there's no one coming to his rescue. That was crazy. And then after that, with the explosion and them cutting to black, I was like, oh my God, is the episode over? Like, are they going to leave it at that part? Like, without the helicopter or anything? But luckily they put it in. So I was like, oh, that's much better, man. Just make my life much better for the next 2 or 3 years. I don't want to get messages every day. So is he alive or is he dead? Is he alive? Is he dead? I want to know. What do you know? What do you know? Mike Regali says, Trev, the song they played when Rick was in the helicopter was the same one they used when he was stuck in the tank at the end of season 1, episode 1, A Space Junk. Yeah, it's cool, man. They did a lot of things with this whole season that really remind you back to the first year and the first season, and that's really cool that they did that too. I love the scene on the when he's on the horse and all the zombies are after him, and it's like the cover, and he's like, going to Atlanta, that epic as hell. See, it might be the most epic visual out of the entire Walking Dead series is just him on the horseback on the highway, right? And the way they brought that back and everything else, it was amazing, man. Matt Alba says, 1 to 9, Rick's part is over. 9+ and on, Judith's story starts. I know, right? It's crazy. She's a Grimes, and I'm always going to watch The Walking Dead. I started watching the series when I was 10. He got started early, right? Matt got started real early. I'm 18 now as I'm writing this. It hurts that Rick is not going to be in the show anymore, but we still have Negan and Daryl and Carol, so I'm happy, and Judith's story begins. So Ray Sanders calls Judith a Carl knockoff, so a Carl comic book series version knockoff. But at least a fresh one. That's cool. And TV series version of Carl wasn't the same anyway. So what they're doing is, they're taking some risks this year. With everything that's going on, they're taking some big risks. And this time skip is another big risk. I think. Like you risk losing the viewer at that point because you're kind of restarting the story. You're not just continuing on from where Rick was killed or disappeared. So it's crazy to see them go that far. I almost thought 6 years was too much, but I guess if they're making Judith like the core of the story and that she is like the main A-lister now, I guess, like, out of nowhere, right? then okay, it is what it is, I guess. It's just it's crazy to see that. But Judith is not around in the comics, so it could be something unique to the TV series. 2008's Alina says, Lincoln and Bernthal still have that electric chemistry together. It was as if Shane never left the show. They just work so damn well together. Seeing them two on screen again was great stuff. It was, man. That was another one of the best scenes of the whole series right there. One of the best scenes they've ever done. For sure. I got to watch it back again, and maybe I'll do a reaction to it this week with you guys. That'd be cool. We just, watch it through and just talk about that scene, and all the things, like all the meaning and the dialogue they have between each other is really cool. My favorite part of it was when Shane was pretty much saying to him, like, he kind of said to him that it's like, it's cool, whatever, forget about that. And, it's kind of like letting bygones be bygones, and that's what he wanted Rick to be. Like, that's the version of Rick he wanted to see. And if you look at kind of how things just kind of came down at the end there, it's almost like Shane lost his mind because Rick wasn't, more like vicious and more dark about what he had to do. The Randall situation, Shane just lost it and probably thought, like, as he said, I don't think you can do it, Rick. I don't think you can keep them safe because you're not willing to go to that extent to do anything you have to do in order to protect, the people in the group. And Shane was. And so he was, in a way, it's kind of like he's saying, in a way, he's proud of Rick for doing the things he had to do later that was some savage, brutal stuff. That's what he wanted to see, right? And that, that he had to keep that fight, and he had to wake up and keep that same aggression and savagery, and it was amazing, man. Some of the best stuff of the whole show. Maybe the best stuff of the entire show. Negan's an awesome bad guy. You guys know I love Negan, but I can see right there why people say Shane is the best villain in The Walking Dead. That scene right there, it's all you need. And it's like, yeah, I can't really dispute that. I love Negan, but I can't dispute that Shane is the best Walking Dead villain now. I can't say it after that episode. Stefano Lomax says, although Glenn could make Popeyes could make a good case for it. Stefano Lomax says, Carol's hair finally grew. Yeah, Carol's hair, did it ever grow, right? Ray Blair says, Trev, Q&A might be a little off topic, but if The Walking Dead has done a total of 7 years in a few months and weeks total of time skips, what does that mean for Fear the Walking Dead? Well, it means that, again, they're not the same timeline at all. They're not even close. So we can basically say from next week's episode, that Morgan never returned. And if he did, he didn't stay or something happened, So you can basically extrapolate that from it, that if he went back, he didn't stay, or he, unless they mention him or something, then he must have stayed with Fear, and never have gone back. Or maybe had gone back and saw if Rick was there, and Rick wasn't there, and he decided, okay, well, I guess I'll head back out again and go help people or something. So it does some interesting stuff for the story, but we can also assume, if it's 6 years, that Rick never came back too. Think about that. Why didn't Rick return in 6 years? We'll get into that probably this week. I can only think of a few reasons. Amnesia, what else? Like, what is there? Amnesia, concussions, coma, stuff like that. Because he couldn't. These are the only things I can think of. Because everyone else thinks he's dead, right? And then the last one will be from Vim Soriano, who says, I was in 8th grade when The Walking Dead premiered. Time flies. Yeah, dude, that's true, man. For me, I was 24 when The Walking Dead premiered, and I think I just finished university. I was just finishing up university, man. And now I'm 32, so it's, wow, getting old, right? It's like characters. And another thing that's interesting is this time skip might actually catch them up to our time. Because if you think about it, that's 7.5. Is it over 7.5 years that they skipped from the end of 8 until episode 6? And they were a couple years in, so they're pretty close to around real world time now, or maybe a little ahead of us now. After that time, that's just a big time skip to do a 6-year time. I don't know. It's crazy. So let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. How are you feeling, man? Are you still as into The Walking Dead as ever now that we're minus Rick Grimes? Are you looking forward to the episodes? Surprisingly, I still am, but I am saddened to know that Rick won't be in them anymore. But what can you do? That's what it is. If you like this video, check out the others. Check out the review for episode 5. Got to watch that through. It's such an important episode. The movie information and predictions for episode 6 and the time skip. As always, this is Trev. I'll see you guys again soon. And I'm saying peace for today. I'll see you guys back again tomorrow.